The House of Commons is reviewing its animal rights laws. Animal rights activists are glad to see progress, but farmers worry the bill might go too far. Bailey White has more.
This is Keswick Ridge, New Brunswick. It's about 20 minutes away from the heart of North Fredericton, but you wouldn't know it by looking. It's a place of wide open spaces, family-owned businesses, and community. It's also where the Versloot family calls home. Karen and Arthur Versloot are farmers and parents of 4. They run their dairy farm entirely on their own and keep over 200 cattle. But that could change very soon, thanks to Bill C-373. C-373 is a bill to update animal cruelty laws, which haven't been rewritten since 1897. But the bill itself isn't that new either. Introduced by Ontario MP Mark Holland in 2006, the bill gained steam earlier this month after a particularly controversial court hearing. 73-year-old Keith Barton of Minto, New Brunswick, was acquitted of cruelty in the death of 5 Pomeranian dogs, all of which he killed with a hammer. The judge found that the dogs had died instantly and therefore not suffered. However, Barton was found guilty of animal cruelty in the case of another Pomeranian, the 6th, who did not die as a result of the hammer assault. Animal rights activists say if Barton's actions don't constitute animal cruelty, the cruelty laws need to be changed, because Pomeranians, all pets, are more than property and cannot be equated to non-living material goods. Stephanie Walsh, Executive Director of the Fredericton SPCA, says change can't come soon enough. She says most people simply don't know how to humanely euthanize an animal. That's how cases like Keith Barton's end up in court. She says euthanasia needs to be left to professionals, veterinarians, who can make sure animals feel no pain.
Most people who have pets don't deem them as property, and to put them in that classification does give you the right to do that. Now, some may suggest that there are ways to humanely kill an animal on your own that can be done, and that is possible, but most of us would not, as lay people, know how to do that. Veterinarians obviously use a very specific sedation process. That's humane, to ensure that there's no pain or inflicted on these animals. And our estimation is that that's one of the biggest issues. So if you remove them from the
Bill C-373 would make it illegal for anyone who isn't a professional to kill an animal without a lawful excuse or cause an animal any unnecessary pain. But nowhere in the bill is unnecessary pain defined, and that makes farmers wonder. One farmer told me that many common farm practices, like dehorning and castration, are often deemed cruel and unusual by animal rights activists. But he said those practices are necessary and are done as humanely as possible, often with the aid of a veterinarian. Karen Versloot says that when it comes to the health of her animals, a vet is always involved. It isn't very often one of her dairy cows needs to be put down, maybe a few times a year, when a cow is aging or sick.
So if we have an animal that we feel needs to be put down, we call the vet. The vet comes and gives the cow a needle, and she basically looks like she's falling into a sleep, but it puts her down, and we feel that's the best way to assure that the animal will not suffer any pain when we feel an animal needs to be put down.
Still, Bill C-373 could be bad news for the Versloots. Tougher laws will mean more paperwork, more legal consultation, and more red tape. And back at the Fredericton SPCA, even Stephanie Walsh says that's not what the bill is meant to do.
We are talking here about pets, not livestock, not something that is your business, that is your family farm. That's a whole different issue, and they should be able to do as they're allowed to do under legislation. What we are talking about specifically is pets, so we don't want to get pulled in.
For now, animal cruelty laws will stay just the way they are. More people are talking about Bill C-373 than ever before, but Parliament has no plans to review it anytime soon. Fredericton MP Keith Ashfield has put his support behind the bill, so have hundreds of others. Despite the vague language and the trouble with C-373, activists and politicians alike are eager to praise the bill. For Stu Journalism, I'm Bailey White.